In this workbook, there's a list of names in a table. The names show the last name, then a comma, and the first name. We're going to use a formula to change the name so the first name is first, then a space, and then the last name. And to do that, we'll build a formula in column B, and we'll take a quick look at it now. It's going to go to the right side of the cell and get the first name, and then put a space, then go to the left side of the cell and get the last name. We're going to break this down into steps to see how this long formula works. The first thing we have to do is find where the comma is in the name. So here's Smith, comma, Mary. And there's a space character here after the comma. And if we counted this, we could see that the comma is the sixth character in that cell. And that comma is going to tell us where the last name ends, and then we'll be able to figure out where the first name begins. So our first step will be to use a formula to find that comma. In this cell, I'm going to use a search function that will let me look for a specific character in a string of text. So in this cell, I'm going to type equal search, then an open bracket. The first argument is find text, so we'll have to specify what we're looking for and put that inside double quotation marks. We're looking for a comma, so I'll do double quote, comma, double quote. Then I'll put a comma, and the next argument is within text. We're looking for that comma in this text, so I'll click on the full name, and then a comma. And the place to start looking is at character 1. Put a closing bracket and press enter. And because we're in a table here, that formula fills down automatically. And if we look at the formula, it's using the field names as references. So instead of A2, we're going to see the full name field here. If you're not using a table, you would just click on the cell and it would show A2. So that tells us where the comma is. So our next step will be to use that number to get the last name. We know that the last name ends just before the comma, so we can put a -1 at the end of the formula that we have so far, and that will give us the last character in the last name. So I'll click in the formula bar and type -1 and press enter. So now, based on that comma location, and subtracting 1 from it, we know the length of the last name. From this, we can use the left function to pull that number of characters from the left of the cell. So going back to cell B2, I'm going to click just after the equal sign and type left, open bracket. We have to tell it where the text is that we want to get the left characters from. So I'll click on the full name cell again, and then a comma, and we've already figured out the number of characters with our search formula here. So I'll click at the very end and add a closing bracket and press enter, and now we have the last name for each of these full names. The next thing we're going to add is a space just before this last name. We're going to get the first name, and we don't want it right beside the last name, we want a space between them. So back to cell B2 and click just after the equal sign. To create a space character, I'm going to type double quote, space, double quote. And to join things in a formula, we use the ampersand character. So I'll type one here. So now we'll have the space character joined with the last name when I press enter. So there we can see a little space at the beginning of each of these cells now. Next, we have to figure out how to get the first name. So we're going to be getting characters from the right side of the cell, but we're not sure how many. So to start, I'm going back to cell B2, and I'm going to click just after the equal sign. And because we want to pull characters from the right side of this text string, we're going to use the right function. Type right and then an open bracket. For the right function, again, just like the left, we have to tell it where the text is that we want to get the text from the right. So we'll click on the full name cell and then a comma, and we have to know how many characters we want to pull to get that first name. So Mary has 4 and 3 and 3 and 4, and then a longer name here. We're going to just, for now, put in a placeholder number. We're going to figure out the exact number later, but I'm just going to type 4, which is the number of characters in Mary's name, then a closing bracket. We want to join that first name with the space and the last name, so we'll type another ampersand and press enter. Mary's name looks correct. There's a space before the next two names, and then Bill is okay because his name is 4 characters, and Anne Marie's name just got chopped off. So our next task will be to figure out how many characters each name is. We don't want to have to type that in our formula. We'll look at this breakdown of what's in that cell. So it's Mary Smith, and we've already figured out how to get that comma position. And in this case, the first name ends not at the comma, but there's a space after, and then the name begins. We're going to have to figure out how many characters are in that full name, including the comma and space. We know how to get that comma, and then we're going to add 1 to that, and then we'll take the length of the full name, subtract the position of the space character, and that will give us the number of characters in the first name. So I'm going to replace this 4, just highlight it, and I'm going to type len, L-E-N, that will give us the length of a text string. Open bracket, we want to get the length of the full name, so we'll click on that cell, close the bracket, and press enter. So that's this full name length that we've calculated. Now to get the position of the comma, we've done that previously, so we'll take a look and just copy that part of our formula. So in our formula, we used search. I'm going to select all of that. That was the bit of formula we used to find the position of the comma. So I've highlighted it, and I'll press Control-C to copy it. And I'm going to click just after the calculation for len. So it's going to be the length minus, and we're going to take our comma position plus 1. So open bracket, paste in the copied formula for search. To that, we're going to add 1, so plus 1, close the bracket. So now our first name is the full length minus the comma position plus 1. Press enter, and now we can see Mary, Lou, Sam, Bill, and Anne Marie. First names all appear correctly. For this formula, to make it easier to read, I'm going to put in some line breaks. So I'm going to find the spot where we start the space character. So I've clicked just in front of the ampersand here, press the Alt key and enter, and then do the same for the last name. Click here, Alt, enter. So now we can see the first name from the right, the space character, and the last name from the left. So press enter, and there's our names reversed from last and first, now showing first and last. For more Excel tips and tutorials, and to download the sample file for this video, please visit my Contextures website at www.contextures.com.